Inside a Gaza hospital, British surgeon's first-hand account. The very fabric of civilian survival is unraveling before medical professionals' eyes in Gaza. That's the shocking reality from British surgeon Dr. Nick Maynard, who shares unprecedented frontline testimony about what he calls a calculated dismantling of human life in the war-torn enclave. With 15 years of experience mentoring Gaza's medical professionals, including a Palestinian protege he now considers family, Dr. Maynard's mission has transformed since the October 2023 war began. His current work at Khan Yunis's besieged Nasser hospital involves performing high-risk emergency surgeries amid active combat, treating horrifically malnourished infants, and managing catastrophic trauma cases with dwindling resources. But here's where the situation becomes especially alarming. Maynard describes systematic patterns in the carnage. He reports consistent gunfire targeting boys aged 11 to 14 at food distribution sites, calling these intentional strikes beyond coincidence. "We've repeatedly witnessed teenagers shot while desperately seeking sustenance," he told NPR from the hospital, with audible gunfire underscoring his words. The Israeli military denies targeting civilians, yet aid organizations confirm these deadly incidents have escalated dramatically since May 2025 as famine spreads. Now consider this controversial pattern. Medical teams observed disturbing clusters of identical injuries on specific days: abdominal wounds one afternoon, head wounds the next. When 4 teenagers arrive within an hour with testicular gunshot wounds, something I've never encountered previously, that indicates coordination, Maynard states. When over a dozen youths simultaneously sustain neck and head wounds, every surgeon here recognizes this clustering defies randomness. The crisis deepens with malnutrition. Patients are so weakened by starvation that even typically survivable injuries become fatal. Maynard believes this isn't collateral damage but intentional strategy. We're witnessing the deliberate erasure of Gaza's population through infrastructure destruction: hospitals stripped of dialysis machines, farms demolished, fishing boats destroyed, water systems targeted. Controversial interpretation alert. Maynard calls this ethnic cleansing through collective punishment, a claim NPR couldn't verify through military and government spokespersons who redirected inquiries to each other. Key insights from the frontline. Food distribution has collapsed into chaos, with desperate civilians fighting over scraps while aid remains catastrophically insufficient. Background gunfire often stems from starving civilians clashing, not combatants. Malnutrition has accelerated dangerously since Maynard's previous visits. Israeli fragmentation bombs unleash thousands of deadly shrapnel pieces, causing massive internal damage. Surgical teams now anticipate injury patterns based on observed targeting trends. Why does Maynard return? "Because I love Gaza," he explains. "The injustice here shames me, especially as our governments appear complicit. When you possess skills that might save lives, the moral imperative to help becomes overwhelming." Now we turn to you. When medical professionals report consistent patterns of injury targeting specific demographics, does this cross from warfare to systematic oppression? Can infrastructure destruction ever be justified as military necessity when children starve? Share your perspective below. Do these accounts reflect tragic wartime realities or evidence of deeper systemic violations? Gaza hospital crisis. British surgeon shares eyewitness account. Inside a Gaza hospital, a British surgeon shares his first-hand experiences. A heart-wrenching reality. Dr. Nick Maynard, a dedicated surgeon from Oxford, England, has devoted the last 15 years to traveling to Gaza, where he has been mentoring young medical professionals and training aspiring surgeons. One of his former students, a Palestinian woman who later pursued her medical career in the UK, has become like family to him. However, since the onset of the conflict between Israel and Gaza in October 2023, Dr. Maynard's focus has dramatically changed. During his latest visit, he finds himself performing emergency surgeries amidst ongoing gunfire, treating severely malnourished children, and caring for trauma patients suffering from devastating injuries. A health system in crisis. In an interview with NPR from Nasser Hospital, the primary medical facility in Khan Yunis, Dr. Maynard paints a grim picture of a healthcare system on the brink of collapse. The sounds of gunfire resonate just outside, as he describes what he perceives as a systematic effort by Israel to dismantle Gaza's civilian infrastructure. He reports hospitals running low on supplies, infants succumbing to hunger, and children being shot while attempting to access food. Dr. Maynard emphasizes that the gunfire is not random. The victims are predominantly young male teenagers, typically between the ages of 11 and 14, who are being shot at food distribution points. "This has been a frequent occurrence during my time here," he shared with Morning Edition. While the Israeli military denies any intention to target civilians, various aid organizations and health officials have reported that such deadly incidents have become increasingly common, particularly since May, as starvation worsens across the Gaza Strip. The desperate search for food has led civilians to come into direct contact with Israeli troops. In response to NPR's inquiries, the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, stated that they categorically reject the claims of intentional harm to individuals, and that they have strict orders prohibiting the targeting of minors. They also mentioned that casualties at aid distribution sites are currently under investigation. Patterns of injury raise concerns. Dr. Maynard and his colleagues have noted alarming patterns in the types of injuries they are treating: head wounds one day, abdominal injuries the next, prompting serious questions about the intent behind these shootings. "This is beyond coincidence," he asserts. "The clustering of symptoms is what makes it so dramatic. All of us, emergency room doctors, general surgeons, urology specialists, and neurosurgeons, have recognized this pattern of injuries," he explained. Most of Dr. Maynard's patients are severely malnourished, which complicates their recovery from injuries that would typically be survivable. He believes that the destruction occurring is not merely collateral damage, but rather a calculated strategy. "What we are witnessing appears to be a deliberate plan to erase the Gaza population from this land," he stated firmly. NPR sought further comments from the IDF regarding Dr. Maynard's claims of a systematic destruction of Gaza's living infrastructure, which he describes as having a clear aim of ethnic cleansing. The IDF referred the inquiry to the Israeli government, which subsequently directed NPR back to the IDF. Key insights from the interview. Sasha Pfeiffer *, can you elaborate on the food access situation based on your observations? Dr. Nick Maynard *, access to food is incredibly challenging. Several months ago, numerous food distribution points operated by UNRWA and the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation existed, but they are now insufficient to meet the needs of the population, leading to chaos and unrest. Pfeiffer * regarding the gunfire we hear near your hospital, is it related to fighting or defense? What is happening? Maynard *, the gunfire is likely the result of conflicts between gangs or families fighting over food. This has been observed multiple times, and is not attributed to the Israeli military or Hamas, but rather to desperate individuals trying to secure food. Pfeiffer *, have you noticed a worsening situation during your recent visits? Maynard *, yes, the situation has deteriorated significantly. Each visit has revealed more severe signs of malnutrition than the last. Pfeiffer *, can you describe the types of injuries you are seeing in your hospital? Maynard *, the use of fragmentation bombs by the Israelis is common, releasing thousands of small metal pieces that cause horrific internal damage. I primarily operate on abdominal and thoracic injuries, and we observe a disturbing pattern where specific body parts are targeted on certain days. Pfeiffer *, that sounds like a shocking assertion. Do you believe this is merely coincidental? Maynard * witnessing multiple young teenagers arrive within an hour with gunshot wounds to their testicles, which we have never encountered before, is beyond coincidence. The clustering of injuries is evident and recognized by all medical professionals here. Pfeiffer *, you have referred to the situation as collective punishment for the Gaza population. What do you believe is the ultimate goal? Maynard *, I believe we are witnessing a calculated effort to eliminate the Gaza population. This is not solely about targeting Hamas. It involves the deliberate killing of countless innocent civilians through the withholding of essential aid, medicines, and food. The entire infrastructure of life here is being systematically destroyed, including hospitals, laboratories, and agricultural systems, with a clear intent of ethnic cleansing. Pfeiffer *, this work must be incredibly challenging. What motivates you to continue returning? Maynard *, I have been coming to Gaza since 2010. I have developed deep connections and friendships here, and I feel a profound sense of injustice regarding what is happening to the people. I am ashamed of the complicity of my government and others, and I feel a strong obligation to provide help wherever I can. British surgeon exposes Gaza crisis. Teenage victims at aid sites. Eyewitness medical testimony. The tragic reality of teenagers being shot by Israeli soldiers is a pressing issue that demands our attention. Nick Maynard, a British gastrointestinal surgeon currently stationed at Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis, Gaza, sheds light on this harrowing situation. When asked about the recent shootings near aid distribution sites, Maynard revealed a disturbing trend: numerous injuries, primarily affecting young males aged between 11 and 14. These boys are being shot at food distribution points, a place where they should feel safe while seeking basic necessities. The accounts from the patients he has treated, their families, and his medical colleagues consistently point to the same grim narrative. Israeli soldiers and remotely controlled quadcopter drones are responsible for these attacks. What's particularly alarming is the pattern of injuries. On certain days, victims arrive with gunshot wounds to specific body parts. For instance, one day, they might come in with abdominal injuries, while on another, they might have been shot in the head or neck. Just last Saturday, 4 teenage boys were admitted simultaneously, all suffering from gunshot wounds to their testicles. This pattern suggests a chilling randomness to the violence, almost as if it were a game where the target changes daily. The severity of these injuries is unimaginable. Maynard recounted a heart-wrenching incident where a 12-year-old boy succumbed to his injuries on the operating table after being shot through the aorta by an Israeli soldier at a food distribution site. He expressed disbelief at the extent of the injuries he has witnessed, stating, "Appalling injuries, the like of which I would never have imagined could have happened if I were not seeing this with my own eyes." In a controversial twist, Aisha Tull from the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation claimed that reports of deaths near their aid sites are fabricated, accusing media outlets of acting as propaganda tools for Hamas. Maynard, however, firmly disagrees, stating, "I don't believe a word they're saying." He emphasizes that the overwhelming evidence from victims and their families supports the reality of these shootings, and the clustering of injuries is too consistent to be mere coincidence. Moreover, Maynard has also observed a dire situation regarding malnutrition in Gaza. This is his 3rd visit to the region, and he notes that the situation has deteriorated significantly. Many adult patients he operates on are malnourished, which severely hampers their healing process. They are facing major injuries that, under normal circumstances, would have a high survival rate with proper surgical intervention. Unfortunately, the lack of nutritional support in hospitals exacerbates their condition. In pediatric care, the situation is even more alarming. The shortage of food is critical, leading to the tragic deaths of premature babies due to malnutrition. Their mothers, too malnourished to breastfeed, cannot provide the necessary nutrition, and formula feed is being denied entry into Gaza. Some American medical colleagues attempted to bring formula into the region, but it was confiscated at the border. The extent of malnutrition is catastrophic, resulting in the loss of lives among both children and adults. This situation raises urgent questions. How can the international community remain silent in the face of such suffering? What can be done to ensure that aid reaches those in desperate need? The stories from Gaza are not just statistics. They are real lives affected by violence and deprivation. We must engage in this conversation and advocate for change.